What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with AC, Dilly Vanilli, and Kevole. We're here to break down the Detroit Lions. The Lions, a team led by number 9, Matthew Stafford, one of my favorite players in the NFL. Continuously gets underrated for his performance and his carrying of this football team and actually making them relevant over these past few years. But we have to see if the Lions actually have the pieces around the quarterback position to make this happen and to make the Lions a playoff team. Now, Matt Patricia is the new head coach, which I think is sort of an upgrade over Jim Caldwell. I was never a Jim Caldwell fan, but of course, we've never seen Patricia take the helm as a head coach. So there's a lot of questions there, but I think he's going to bring at least a system ground up in that I think is going to work, along with the general manager, Bob Quinn, who is also a Patriot former employee who's been putting pieces in place for this. Jim Bob Cooter, I think, is a good OC and has put Stafford in position to make plays. But their defense is the concern, guys, for me. Where do you see the Lions this year? Do you see them as a playoff team, or do you see them as one of the worst teams in the NFC North?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start here. The Lions, for me, I mentioned in our latest video with Mitch that he's one of my favorite QBs, Matthew Stafford, one of my favorite players in the league. I love what he does. I think he's consistently underrated. And this offense, in terms of receivers and line, is not terrible. I really like Marvin Jones, Golden Tate, Kenny Golladay. I think those are 3 really good receivers, especially Marvin Jones. Offensive line, you got TJ Lang, which I thought was a good signing. You're a good player right there. A couple of decent guys. They have a new left guard coming in. They drafted Frank Ragnow, who could be very good for them. Not very high on their tight end situation. They had Eric Ebron. He's gone. Now it's Luke Wilson, who I don't think is that great. I don't think it's going to be much of a change there. Running back, huge concern. I know they got Kerryon Johnson, which I thought was a very good signing, or excuse me, a very good draft pick. And I put him in my top 5 rookie candidates for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but I still need to see what they have, see what they can do. Again, the Lions were one of 2 teams last year to not have a running back go for 100 yards in a game. The other is Kev Seahawks. So it's kind of, they haven't done it for 4 seasons, by the way. Last running back to do it was Reggie Bush. So this has been a huge concern for the Lions for years to get a running back. Hopefully they can do that, but they still have a weird list of guys. LeGarrette Blount is there, which I like, but how many snaps is he going to get there? With 4 running backs in this group, Theo Riddick's more of your pass-catching running back, and Amir Abdullah is trash, in my opinion. You go to the defensive side, this is where the big question marks come in. Of course, you got Darius Big Play Slay, one of their lone shining pieces. Ziggy Ansah has been on and off for the last 2 or 3 seasons. It's been very weird for me to watch Ziggy Ansah. I don't know what he's going to bring. Their linebacking core, besides Kennard, I think was pretty weak, honestly. The defensive line has got some okay pieces, but it's also not very good. Ledbetter is a 6th-round draft pick. I just don't see much out of him. Culver Quinn, I think, could be very good as well, but there's just a lot of there's not much there. There's not a lot of name brand that you can look at. Darius Slay, I think, is the biggest piece that you have there, and besides that, you're looking at some guys that are decent to mediocre in the field, and that's definitely not going to work in this very competitive division. We talked about the Bears being 9-7, or being around that group right there. I have the Detroit Lions at 7-9, which is the worst in the NFC North. This is the one team I actually got the prediction correct last year. But I just want to say that the Detroit Lions offense is not terrible. Of course, you're led by Matthew Stafford and some pretty good receivers. I just have a lot of questions about the running back group, and their defense has not sold me whatsoever, and that's a huge question mark going into 2018. So I'm not very high on them. I have them at 7-9.
I have them at 6-10. Like we were saying, their offense is good, but still, I think almost their weakest, obviously their defense, but their weakest points of their team. They've tried to help the O-line over the years, but they have their weakest point in their offensive line and their defensive line. I just don't see a lot of promise there, and it's tough to win games when you lack that. I agree with you. Matt Stafford's always been fun to watch. But you saw Golden Tate fall off last year. You saw Kenny Golladay play well at the beginning, which was unbelievable for a rookie. Because I know a lot of guys were high on him, but he kind of fell off. And then Marvin Jones became a good player. But then no tight end, no running back, really. LeGarrette Blount's good, but I think he has to be in the proper system. And then we look at this defense. There's nothing that really stands out to me besides Gerard Davis, who I think is an unbelievable middle linebacker. I just think he needs some time. And the one thing we have to think too with Patricia is, that Super Bowl, I think, hurt Patricia's rep a bit. I know Kevin and I kind of talked about that, right? When it just happened, when he just got signed. Did that change kind of how people perceive him? Because to be this all-world guy, that science guy, and then all of a sudden to lose like that on your defense, on your watch, you calling the plays, you trying to make the adjustments to stop them, I think that hurts him a bit. I do think in the future he's going to be able to mold his team. I just don't think he's able to mold this defense how he wants it right now. So I think down the road, obviously they don't have many more years of Matthew Stafford, but I just don't see them doing very well. I see them maybe winning one division game. So that's obviously 1-5 right there. And then I could see them losing to the Miamis. I could see them losing to the Buffalo Bills. You know what I mean? On the road or something, depending on who they play. I also, I could see them losing to the Cardinals, the Seahawks. So all in all, I think they max. Actually, I'm going to go 5-11. Really, I'm going to go 5-11. I think this is going to be a start of a rebuild, which I think Detroit has needed somewhat of a rebuild for a long time now.
Okay. Detroit fans would argue that they've been rebuilding and rebuilding and rebuilding for years.
For nothing.
Yeah, but they're always picking middle 15th and then not drafting well. That's
And you really want to blame the greatness of Matthew Stafford for actually having them at 8-8 for these years.
Yeah.
Well, I think the question of where Matthew Stafford is a legitimate question. In terms of talent, yeah, of course. I think Matthew Stafford is a really talented quarterback. But at the stats that we look at right now, fourth quarter comebacks, things like that, the clutch.
I mean, he had the most fourth quarter comebacks like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, that was 2 seasons. Last year it wasn't the same. And in comparison to some of it, when he plays against other elite quarterbacks, his record isn't as strong. Is
that because his team isn't as good?
Well, see, that's what you present. But other people will present if he's an elite quarterback, he comes up and he shows up. So
why
can we make excuses for Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, but we can't for Matt Stafford?
I'm just saying if Drew Brees or if Aaron Rodgers was on the Detroit, they'd make the playoffs.
But Aaron Rodgers is a top 10 quarterback of all time. Matt Stafford is a top 6 quarterback in the NFL.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's the difference. If we're talking the difference between Aaron Rodgers and things.
But also, Drew Brees had some of the worst defenses of all time, went 7-9 every year, and we said, "Oh, but Drew Brees' defense sucks."
Yeah, but Drew Brees is better than Stafford. But they've won Super Bowls. There's no difference.
They won one.
It doesn't matter. It's still one Super Bowl and all the.
No,
records.
but I'm saying, why can we excuse that for all those like 3-4 seasons in a row where they're 8-8, 7-9, 7-9, 7-9? But all of a sudden we can't say that Matt Stafford doesn't have help.
When has Detroit ever been over 10 wins?
They went to the playoffs a couple of times.
They've had 2 seasons
over 10 wins.
They've had 2 seasons where they've had 10 or more victories.
When Stafford actually had some decent defensive talent like Sue, they actually made the playoffs.
But what did they do in the playoffs?
What's that?
Huh?
What have they done in the playoffs? I'm
trying to tell you, they haven't had the pieces in place or the coach.
I don't think this is a Matt Stafford situation. This is a full team evaluation.
This is the Detroit Lions we're talking. They couldn't do anything with Barry freaking Sanders.
Well, they won division when they had Barry.
Yeah, once.
Well, it's still better than what Stafford's done.
I mean, but we have to. To me, this is where it starts, and I like a lot of the pieces. What you guys talk about Detroit there, I like their receiving core generally overall. I mean, Golladay, Jones, and Tate is a solid receiving core. Golden Tate, great after the catch. I don't mind the secondary overall, but I don't think that front seven is overall very strong, which makes that secondary weak. Their running game, it was comparable to what Seattle's has been. Luke Wilson is an interesting talent, but he wasn't a great receiver. But I think he's a solid tight end. I'm with AC. I have the Lions at 6-10. I have them at 4th in the division. And yeah, I think this year is a very interesting year for Matthew Stafford. I would argue that there's a lot of pressure on Matthew Stafford proving that if Matthew Stafford is as good as you say, Mitch, this team should be a 9-7 team. This team should be.
Just not the defense.
They were last year, weren't they? Or 8-8?
Or 9-7 last year.
But
and they were better last year.
Definitely worse than last year.
Yeah.
I think they'll be worse than last year, but
yeah, I think they'll be worse than last year too because they have the Chicago Bears now. They have Aaron Rodgers back in their division. I think their division is a nightmare for this team. I rank the Detroit Lions defense 31st in the NFL. I think it's horrendous. They have no talent besides Ziggy Ansah. Anthony Zettel, I mean, is okay. Gerard Davis is young. Christian Jones and Kennard are backups. Darius Slay is great. Glover Quinn is good. The rest of their corners are terrible. This is going to be Matt Patricia. This will have to be Matt Patricia's greatest defensive year ever. 2017 was great with the Patriots. This defense is even worse. The offensive line is fantastic, I think, for the most part, if they can stay on the field. Besides maybe center, I think is okay. But Ragnow, I think, will improve with left guard. I think their run game will improve. I think they might finally get a 100-yard rusher this year, which, by the way, Matt Stafford hasn't had since 2013. So I think Kerryon Johnson could be a stud running back, but I don't know if it's going to take time or not. I just think their run game, as long as the offensive line's on the field, their offense will score points, but their defense will get outscored more often than not. Stafford will pull out games from his ass like he does every year with Marvin Jones and Gold Tate, and I think Kenny Golladay could have a good year. But overall, I have like 6-10, 7-9. I'm going to go 6-10 because I upped the Bears a game, 9-7, so I'm going to down the Lions a game at 6-10. I just don't see the talent on defense to get this done. And the Lions as an organization have been basically proven losers. So there's only so much, in my opinion, that the quarterback can do here. Of course, you guys are going to disagree, but that's just my opinion. So we don't see the Lions as a good team this year. A lot of us, just all of us, did all of us have them at 6-10?
I had them at 7-9.
Okay, Dylan had them at 7-9. Just at least 9-10 losses. I know there's some Detroit fans that think they're going to take the next step this year. I just don't think it's all there on defense to make this happen. Maybe next year if they add to this defense and Matt Patricia can put his stamp of approval on it. But until then, I think this is a wait and see for the Lions. And they're definitely going to be exciting, but I just don't know if they're going to be a good team this year in 2018. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe for more NFL. Peace out.